Entertainers, all hosted by a master of the game, His Royal Blackness, KKD, the finest. Catch Master of the Game on CTV. Oh yes, nuggets of inspiration and delightful treats for your enjoyment. Whether you love power, money, beauty or fame, there is so much to learn from Master of the Game. Only in the place to be. The coolest channel, CTV. And welcome to Master of the Game. My name is Darkwah, Kwasi Kyei Darkwah, and I'm delighted to be united with you again. Today the story is a very, very interesting one. Some may call it rags to riches. I say no, it's determination and grit to the heights of your dreams. A young man in Ghana who was a brilliant student right here in Accra started out as the first paparazzo ever in Ghana, shooting the celebrities, even photographing the president, moved to the United States in the year 2000, went to New York, the big city of dreams, and then decided he wanted something different from the life in New York. He moved out to go visit a friend and then decided this is the place for me. This is where I will stay, and one day I'll be counted amongst the leaders in Portland, Maine. I welcome and deliver to you a fine gentleman known as Councilman Pious Ali.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Pious, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm so delighted to see you.
Same here, it's been a while.
Because we have a long story.
Yes, sir.
I remember your days of going everywhere with your camera.
Yep.
Taking photographs.
Yep.
Shooting Miss Ghana. Shooting the National Dance Championships.
That is
and
true.
And looking for everybody who believed they would be a celebrity and taking pictures of them. You've come a long way since then.
Yeah, very, very long.
Tell me about the journey, how it began.
Well, I think I was born and raised here in Ghana, in Accra. My father...
Where in Accra?
My father is from Nima, and my mother is from Adwajiri in Sawam. So, legend has it that I was born in Nima. The folks at in Sawam believe that I was born in Sawam. So, I am born either or Nima or in Sawam. I was raised in my early ages or early years at Insawam, went to school there and ended up at Zongolin, where I attended West Africa Secondary School.
Was?
Yeah. I started at Accra Newtown and ended at Adenta. I think my year group was the first year to graduate from Adenta in 1989.
That is when WAS moved to the Adenta
To
campus.
Adenta, yeah.
That was a nicer campus.
Yeah, it was much, much more, I wouldn't say better, but it was different from, how do you call it, the one at Accra Newtown. The one at Accra Newtown was embedded in the community, and the one at Adenta was a little bit away from the crowd, and it had more of a student, more of a school campus than Newtown. Newtown is more community-oriented, but Adenta was more school-oriented. Yeah.
And it was quite difficult to focus on school if you were actually in the Newtown area because all the record shops were there.
Oh, yeah.
All the printing presses were there, and the place was bustling with so much activity. It was difficult to focus in class when if you just looked out the window, this is a whole city calling you to come out.
Yes, and then the area boys were at the gas station, or filling station as we say it here, that is right across from the classrooms.
So tell me about your boyhood days, about mom and dad and your siblings and growing up.
Right. I have an interesting upbringing. I was born, my dad have 3 kids. I'm the youngest. And between my dad and my mom, I was the only child. But my mom also have other kids from different relationship after she part company with my dad. I was raised by my grandmother, who raised me alongside other siblings or cousins, and she used to be called the community grandmother because she knows your parent, she knows your grandparent. She's been in the neighborhood at Insawam for a long time. Recently, I was talking to someone when I visited Insawam, and the person was like, you know, if not for your grandmother, I will not be here. And I said, tell me more. And she said, I was brought to this town when I was a very young woman to live with one of my maternal uncles, but your grandmother became my friend. Anytime I am facing difficulties, I go to her. And not only do I go to her, everybody in the community goes to her for counseling and for any support that they may need.
So, how many years did you spend in Sawam before being moved to Accra?
I think I went to my primary school. There's a school called Sechikrom United Primary School. It was created by Methodist and Presby, and so that is why it's called United.
So by what age were you in school in Accra?
I went to school late. You know, we are Muslims, and I grew up in a household that have what we call madrasa, where other people bring their kids for my grandfather's brothers to raise them and teach them how to read the Quran. And kids in my family don't necessarily go to school. They spend all time learning how to become teachers and imams. And my grandmother said something which is interesting as we have this conversation. She said that she wants me to go to school so that someday I will read the newspaper for her to laugh. So I think I was a little bit older than the kids in my classroom at that time. I might be 8 years when I went to school, and I was sitting amongst kids who were like 5 and 6 years. I finished the primary school and went to middle school. And then after the middle school, we did a common entrance, and I got admission into West African Secondary School.
But in primary school and middle school, you're still reading your Quran?
Yeah, I was learning how to read the Quran. I was learning. You start learning and writing in, I used to say that we started using on a tablet before it became a thing. It's a wooden plank that you write. We use a white clay to paint it so that when you use the rice, the ink that was made from the rice to write, it shows. And then your teacher will sit with you one-on-one to read a chapter or a verse from the Quran, where you will write it down and then come back and read it to them after a day or two.
So at the time, was there anything like, okay, in addition to reading the Quran and writing, maybe you could learn a skill like tailoring or embroidery? Because I had friends in Nima at the time who became very good embroiderers, and I think there are some still there like that. Or it was mainly focused on study the